Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So Samsung's Galaxy A80 is out for sale now about everywhere in the world. So in this video, I am gonna compare the handset with the light version of the flagship by Samsung of this year, the S10e. As for the price, right now the A80 will cost you slightly more than the S10e, while after some time the price of the A80 will also drop. So starting off with the construction, on both phones it's gonna be aluminum frame and glass back, which is Gorilla Glass. On both, the back glass will be curved, while this curve will be more evident on the A80 compared to the S10e. The screen will be 5.8 inches diagonally on the S10e versus 6.7 inches on the A80. So as for their overall size, the S10e is supposed to be a compact device versus the A80 is the biggest mobile phone you can buy right now. So huge difference here. The Galaxy A80 is gonna be more than 1mm thicker than the S10e, and in terms of the weight, again very noticeable difference, and the A80 is quite a heavy phone. And as for the bezels, the bottom bezel aka the chin, its thickness is gonna be the same on both phones, while the side bezels are slightly more wider on the A80, but the difference won't be very noticeable. And the top bezel width is also the same on both phones, while the screen to body ratio will be more of the A80, and that's because it's a larger phone with same bezel's thickness. As for security, the fingerprint scanner will be in screen on the A80 versus on the right side on the S10e. As for the speed, the S10e will be faster, while just like the A50 and the A70, Samsung will improve the scanner speed of the A80 through updates, but still, it won't be as fast as the S10e, and the face unlock feature is not present on the A80 versus the S10 does have it. USB Type-C port on both phones for connectivity, and the headphone jack is on the bottom side on the S10 versus the A80 does not have the headphone jack. The speaker is on the bottom side on the A80 versus on the S10e. One is on the bottom side, and the earpiece also serves as a loudspeaker, while it won't be as loud as the bottom one. Between these two phones, the speaker loudness will be the same, around 79 to 80 decibels, while you might enjoy the stereo speakers more of the S10e. And at last, the A80 won't have any water resistance versus the S10e is gonna be IP68 certified, means water should not get inside it. Coming to the display, so on both it will be Super AMOLED with resolution of Full HD. So screen sharpness will be slightly more on the S10e because of its smaller screen, but the difference is not gonna be very noticeable. This screen on the S10e compared to the regular S10 is only lower in size and resolution, and everything else is exactly the same. So compared to the A80, it will be more brighter, so very high contrast ratio means more HDR capability. And yes, the S10e does support HDR10 content while the A80 does not. Both phones will have the always on display feature, and to protect this there is gonna be Gorilla Glass on both, but again, the S10e is a very heavy phone, so in case of a drop, the screen might break and shatter easily. As for the performance, you know which one is gonna be ahead, the S10e. If you don't, the difference in everyday performance is gonna be easily noticeable. And as for 3D and gaming, both phones can run all the heavy games on high settings, but if you're not gonna change your device for the coming 2 or even 3 years, the S10e won't have any problem in handling those coming games as well. The RAM will be 8GB on both of these, while there's also gonna be a 6GB RAM variant of the S10e, which is also not gonna be bad, while the storage is gonna be 128 or 256GB on the S10e, which is expandable, while on the A80 it will only have 128GB variant, and you cannot increase the storage via micro SD card. And as for the operating system, it will be Android 9 Pie on both of these, and both should also get the Android Q updates. Now the cameras, it's gonna be 48 megapixels quad rear sensor, mean it will output images in 12 megapixels on the Galaxy A80 with fixed aperture, versus on the S10e, same as the S10, 12 megapixel sensor with dual aperture. So in good light on both of these, the detail will be great, while dynamic range will still be better on the S10 thanks to its f2.4 aperture. In low light, the S10 is gonna use its wider f1.5 aperture and OIS, so it's gonna be pretty good compared to the A80. As for the wide angle sensor, it will be 16 megapixels on the S10e versus 8 megapixels on the A80, while the field of view will be the same on both, and both will also be fixed focus, not autofocus. So the detail will be lower on the A80, and in low light, the wide angle on the S10e does not perform as good as the main sensor, while it's not bad but pretty good, versus on the A80 the detail is already very low and the dynamic range is just gonna be bad. So yeah. The third sensor on the A80 will be a 3D time of flight camera. So it's gonna help in portraits and video portraits, while on the S10e the portrait mode is pretty good also. The S10 is gonna have dual pixel face detection autofocus, means refocusing is gonna be super quick on it. Video capture will be in 4K resolution at 30 fps or in 1080p at 60 fps on the A80 versus the S10e can do 4K or 1080p at 60 fps. The S10 have OIS, so video stabilization will be great on it, while not as good in 4K at 60 fps mode, versus on the A80 the handset does not have OIS, so if you want to use the software based stabilization, you will be limited to 1080p at 30 fps. The S10e will also be able to record 4K videos in HDR10+, means in this mode the dynamic range is gonna be just awesome, while the A80 cannot capture HDR videos. And as for the wide angle videos, they will be in 1080p at 30 fps on the A80 versus in 4K at 30 fps on the S10e. Slow motion recording on both phones will be in 1080p resolution at 240 fps, means 8 times slower, and the super slow motion will be in 720p on both phones. On the A80 the frame rate will be at 480 fps for 0.4 seconds, so 6 seconds of super slow motion playback, versus on the S10e it will either be in 480 fps for 0.8 seconds or at 960 fps for 0.4 seconds, while both modes will give you about 13 seconds of super slow results. On both phones there is gonna be super steady mode, which will use the wide angle camera to capture super stabilized and super steady videos, while the quality of these is gonna be lower on the A80 as its wide angle is weaker, and on the A80 there is gonna be the portrait video feature which the S10e won't have. Now on the front side, same sensor as the back one on the A80 versus its 10 megapixels on the front side on the S10e. Here the detail will be more on the A80 along with good dynamic range and white balance. On the A80 the camera used to be fixed focus for the front side, which was not good, but now Samsung has solved the issue, so just like the S10e, both phones will have autofocus front side as well, which is great. On the A80, thanks to its wide angle sensor, the maximum field of view will be 123 degrees, which for the front side is super wide, and the S10e will have 80 degrees of maximum field of view on the front side. Both phones can capture 4K selfie videos, while the A80 can also capture selfie portrait videos. At last, the battery capacity will be 3700 mAh on the A80 versus 3100 mAh on the S10e. So higher capacity on the A80, but the screen on time on both will be very close. If you will do less CPU intensive tasks, then the A80 will discharge faster because of its larger, more power hungry screen, versus on the other hand, if you will do gaming and stuff like that, then the S10e will discharge faster because of its heavy duty CPU and GPU. The S10e will have wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, so that's great if you have a wireless charger. And at last, for the fast wired charging, the A80 with its included charger will take about 1 hour and 40 minutes to fully recharge, versus the S10e will take about 1 hour and 30 minutes to do the same. So this is it for this video guys. Let me know what you guys think about both handsets, and if you found this video interesting then be sure to like it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.